Hey, it's Alyssa. I'm super Cali-listic. I am bringing a white flag today because I swear I feel like this whole coronavirus conversation has gotten way out of control and it's affecting me and I'm sure it's affecting you. So I'm gonna wave the white flag and we're gonna have fun today. I'm also going to set the tone. I was going to read the Sneetches, the stars, the thars, and that whole thing, because I think that is very appropriate right now. But I decided to go with the Butter Battle book. So that will set the tone because I read these stories to my kids to help teach them about when we get stuck in a rut as humanity, as humans. We're human, we're flawed. We like to say it's your fault, it's not my fault, etc., etc. So I am going to start with this because I think sometimes kid lessons are really good for adults too. But first I'm going to finish pouring my coffee and then let's do this. Thanks for coming by. Thank you to everyone that's watching the playback. I'm going to keep this fun. I'm going to keep it sparkly, but I can't ignore what's going on. Honestly, it's 105, day 105 in Los Angeles right now, and things are opening up. There's definitely like people out, there's traffic, but there's so many businesses still closed and a lot of other things I'm gonna talk about, so I can't ignore what's going on. And I really thought, I don't know, a part of me thought that I might be talking about this, a year or so later, and another part of me is like, really? We still on this? So anyways, I'm gonna get my coffee, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna have fun, and if it gets crazy, I'm just gonna go, truce! Let's sit down and talk! Okay, I'll be right back. I'm doing pour over. I don't know, I hope you guys can hear me. I think my friend Kate is logged in, so if she can hear me, if she could give me like a thumbs up. I'm doing pour over. You can see this is how we do it. It takes like 15 minutes to produce a cup of coffee. It's a process. I'm just gonna do a little bit more. There's not much in here, so. This is my third cup of the day. Oh, you know what? And I don't have my headphones. Kate, if you're still here, can you hear me? I hope you guys can hear me, because if you can't, what I usually do if there's sound issues, I'll just delete that part of the video. But hopefully it works. Hopefully everything's working. You can even hear Offhand Disney in the background. My daughter loves Offhand Disney. She's 4, but it's fun for the whole family. We love going on the rides with the guy who does the hosting. He runs the channel. I actually don't know his name. I just know the name Offhand Disney. And it's been keeping us entertained and excited about going back to Disneyland, and he's funny and really likable. So yeah, really enjoying Offhand Disney. Thank you for cranking those out during quarantine time and keeping it so positive. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna get my coffee. I think it's ready. If they read it. Okay. All right, guys, let's do this. If you're wondering, this is my Super Cali mug. My brother, Jonathan Price, he designed all of the designs, and yeah, I really appreciate it because I'm a pretty small channel and it's fun to have really great merchandise that I'm really excited about. Hey Raleigh, please turn that down, please. No, I know, but then did you just turn it up, or is it a new video? Thanks, Jesse.
No, I didn't turn it up.
Okay, then it's just a new video and the volume levels are different. It happens. That happens. Jesse, could you do me a huge favor? Could you bring me my headphones that are on our dresser so I can make sure that I can hear myself? Okay, thanks. All right, so before I start in on reading a children's story to you, I think I'm just gonna, let's see the television. I can see my dishes. Gosh, I might need to powder up, you guys. It just got really humid. This is how you do it in the industry. You just powder. I don't even know what I'm saying. Thank you. Okay. Let's see if this is working. Little burp action. Excuse me. I seriously, I am a middle-aged dude trapped in a woman's body. Okay, it sounds... Okay, great. Can you even hear our squeaky door? Okay, actually I'll just leave these in case I need to. Sometimes we lose connection halfway through the video. It's awesome. I'm gonna open the window because it's getting kind of muggy in here. And I don't know if that will help. I would turn the air conditioning on, but it's super loud. Okay, so let's set the tone with something that is meant for children, but I feel like, why not? This is a live video. Either you're here or you're not. I am going to put chapters in after the fact, so you can always skip ahead to like one of the other topics of the day. For example, I have a little outline here. I'm very prepared, and I'm also noticing I have a ton of headroom, so I'm gonna do this. Let's see if that makes a difference. Much better. Okay. So like if you don't want to listen to me read Dr. Seuss's The Butter Battle book, poorly, I'm sure, but it's the point of it that counts. I'm trying to let go of being perfect and just get these videos out and like kind of, I feel like it's kind of that feeling when you're walking through mud. It's like, it's slowing you down. It's feeling like impossible, but I'll get there, and it's just gonna be imperfect, and that's okay. We're all doing our best right now. We really are. Okay, so set the tone with this. So like if you wanna skip ahead to like, you know, what's happening in Los Angeles. Hi! My mom was on her walk. Oh no, wait, was at the walk yesterday at the park, and she got a free Dr. Seuss book for the kids. I love Dr. Seuss too. What an amazing person. And how great that his messages really apply so many years later and for so many people, no matter what their background or their age. Truly a genius, and I love that we've acknowledged him as such. And I think it's important to really see that like things that are made for kids, it doesn't mean that they're not also equally entertaining and relevant for adults. You know, we don't need to be separate. Okay, so yeah, so if you want to skip ahead, like I said, to like, oh, how I get my kids to wear masks, then just, you know, skip ahead to that point. I get it. I won't take it personally. I feel like, is that my favorite filter? There's these new filters. You guys, I'm gonna go through them really quick because it's fun. Okay, so YouTube, if you're streaming live on your cell phone, they have this new feature. I think it started in the fall, and it's really cool because there's all these filters. So right now I selected Beam, and then this is Blush, kind of like an Instagram type filter. Pop, a little more contrasty and dramatic. Crush, wow, that's like 70s photo. Glow, which is interesting. It's almost like a sci-fi film, a little creepy. Slate, which is monochromatic. I feel like our eyes are so trained for color, it just instantly makes it look so old that it's in black and white. I don't know if that's just me. Here's Noir, which is much more dramatic. We could have a murder mystery scene. There's Dawn, which is really very red and pink. Bubbles, which is my personal favorite. I love me the bubbles. It's so, I feel better like the instant I hit this filter, but it is more for kids, I feel, or like teenagers. They're like, ooh, and like giving you like duck face and stuff. And then here's the dance party. This is my daughter's favorite. I personally think it makes you dizzy and sick and could probably cause seizures, so we're gonna quickly go back to meme. Okay. I like a cooler, so this is like more contrasty and cooler, so you see the blues more, and I personally like cooler tones, so it's really personal preference. And I'm a nerd, so I'm also going to say that it also depends on your device. So if you're watching this on a PC versus an Apple, we all see something different. And isn't that true? Isn't that so true in life? We all see something different. Okay, hi Mom, let's do this. The Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss. Mom, I know you don't need to hear this book, but I know you'll enjoy it, so that's awesome. Here they are, marching along with their flags. For Audrey with love, very sweet. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, My grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent, then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Yooks, and on the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down." Shame on those Zooks. "But we Yooks, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread," Grandpa said, "with the butter side up." "That's the right, honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth, "so you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched, he has kinks in his soul. That's why as a youth I made watching my goal, watching Zooks for the Zook watching border patrol."
That makes me want buttercup.
Yeah, after my video, okay, baby, I already fed you. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I could give him a twitch with my tough, tufted, prickly snickberry switch. For a while that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Yukaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of a triple sling jigger. For those of us just joining us, I'm setting the tone with a good old-fashioned Dr. Seuss book. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my hand on a trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em. We'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from your Yooks who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Yukaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing at all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of a gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whiz-zinger one. My bright boys are thinking they're on the right track. They'll think one up quick and we'll send you right back." They thought up a great one, they certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder and ants' eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high, while everyone cheered and their cheers filled the sky. "Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die!" Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig, "The boys in my back room invented this rig called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high explosive sour cherry stone pits and will put your dumb kickapoo kid on the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more by Van Itch I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged and my spirits were low as I thought that they ever could go. When I heard a boom-ba and a diddle-dee-deal, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Eukaroo had sent them to meet me along with the right side up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boy," smiled the chief Eukaroo, "we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready, get in it. The big war is coming, you're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you are certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine, you'll fly over that wall and clobber those butter-down zooks, one and all." Those boys in the back room sure knew how to putter. They made me a thing called the utterly sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and steered toward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one knew quite exactly just what it would do. But it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew and gum up that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine. And I'm here to say that if yooks can goo zooks, you'd better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo yooks." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all the girls of the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ansu, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and the chief Eukaroo has been looking for you." I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright backroom boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It is filled with mysterious moo-laka-moo and can blow all those zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomaroo. You just run to the wall like a nice little man, drop this bomb on the zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all yooks to stay safe underground while Bitsy Big Boy Boomaroo is around." Toppest, secretest brain nest. As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last yook in the land was obeying our chief Eukaroo's grim command. "You're a yookery." They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country and right side up butter.
I want butter toast.
Yeah, okay, this is making my daughter really hungry for butter toast. That's when grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "Okay, Raleigh, please wait. You should be down that hole and you're up here instead, but perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You will see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leapt up that wall with a lopulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with a bopulous beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant, we heard a clop clop of feet on the wall, and old Van Itch clopped up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy bomberoo. Boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens." "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful. Oh, gee. Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We will see." The Butter Battle Book by Dr. Suess. Oh, and this is another great one, but I won't make you guys sit through another one. I get it. The Sneetches. Some have stars on their bellies and some don't. And it's very meaningful. Okay, so that's just how I want to open today because I'm just going through my own process also as I sit here in my condo in Los Angeles. And I think, because I think sometimes my daughter just said, "Love it, all adults need to read Dr. Seuss." Yes, they do. My daughter.
I didn't say that.
No, but Gaga just said that. So anyways, my daughter's right. Why am I reading a kid's book to a bunch of adults? Again, I explained it before I started, but my daughter is hungry and inquisitive, and I'm seeing an atmosphere where everyone thinks someone else is to blame, and we're not getting anywhere. And I worry. And then, no, Raleigh, can you go ask Dad? Wait, when Daddy comes back from walking domino, he can get you butter toast. That's our arrangement that never works. For those of you that are here every week, my hour never turns out to be without like a kid screaming at me. My husband's not here. I've literally been counting down since this morning. Okay, I'm going live in 2 hours. I'm going live in 1 hour. I'm going live in 20 minutes, and he's out walking domino, which is something that does need to be done, but also there's children, so. Yeah, if you're here, you get it, and either you're a parent, or you know a parent, or you know a kid, you're alive, you know how life works. She's yelling at me for butter toast because I read the Butter Battle book.
No, I want mommy.
Well, she's doing a video, so I will get it for you.
Yeah, I'm literally in the middle of a video right now. So yeah, obviously we're all dealing with our own like spectrum of emotions, and I am no stranger to that. I'd love to say like, I'm doing great, everything's fun, I just put on my mask, I go about my day, but unfortunately that's just not the reality. I can tell that it's harder for me being in Los Angeles than say an area where people aren't as divided. Like I think that is more peaceful to just be able to go out and talk to people, and like that whole humanity bit is at play. So yeah, it's a unique situation. I think probably, I'm guessing it feels this way in like New York City, Los Angeles, certain cities that are maybe San Francisco, where it's like clearly things are not normal. Not everything's up and running. Many things have reopened, but like there's lots of signs if you're driving around town, like we can't wait to welcome you back. Like in Beverly Hills, they had that sign, and like movie theaters, we can't wait to welcome you back, or we can't wait to reopen. So there's still like, you know, this has been going on for days and days. Literally, this is day 105, which I was really hoping that wouldn't be the case, but it just is. Here we are. So it is what is, and I'm trying to do my best to not try to solve it, because I think I keep trying to solve it. I keep trying to rationalize with people and talk to people and get people to come together and to get them to stop blaming each other and debating who puts their butter on which side of the toast. And I get that maybe what I really need to do is focus on like my family and my life and you guys who are here. So I'm doing my best at that. And that being said, my next thing that I really wanted to talk about were plans change. And I'm just getting used to that and acknowledging that I'm not gonna say it's not sad. It is sad when you are looking forward to something and it's like a beacon of light for you and just like this light at the end of the tunnel, and then the light goes away. And I'm specifically talking about Disneyland was proposing to open on July 17th is their anniversary, right? July 17th is the 65th anniversary. What?
Did you give her a sneeze?
No. It was July 17th is the 65th anniversary of Disneyland, right? So July 17th, and as some of you saw, I like threw on my mini ears. I was so excited because I got the email from them, like talking about how that's gonna work, and I was just so excited. And the truth is, they just can't because there's not enough guidelines being put in place by the state of California for them to do that safely. So I don't know when they're going to reopen. They will definitely still reopen the downtown Disney shops and restaurants on July 9th. This is long overdue. Many shops and restaurants have been open now for over a month, so about a month. So, I mean, I get that everybody has a different opinion. I'm a lifelong germaphobe. And I am the type of person that succumbs to illness. Like if I get a flu, I might end up with really bad asthma. So I am no stranger to being afraid of germs, to washing my hands, to noticing when someone has a runny nose. Like I'll see kids with runny noses before this happened, and then they like touch it, and then they touch me, and I just have to be like, Alyssa, go on with your life. You may or may not get really sick in a couple days or a week. So I guess it's hard for me as this lifelong germaphobe that's always battled having like a lot of autoimmune issues of my own, and telling my friends that were never really cared about germs, like, you know, the world is cleaner and more sterile than I've never felt safer. The one thing I would be hesitant to do right now is get on an airplane, just because I know the air is recirculated, and even if just one person has coronavirus on the plane, I could be exposed to it. So things like that I would avoid still. But I went to In-N-Out on Father's Day with my husband and my kids, and I was like, wow. Every other table was closed. There was like maybe 2 or 3 other people sitting, like at groups of people at different tables very far away from us. Everything was immaculately wiped down. Everyone was 6 feet apart. Like people wear masks coming in. I was like, this is amazing. Like I've never had a healthier year in my life. My kids have never been healthier. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, my daughter has type 1 diabetes, so she has a compromised immune system. I've never felt that she's been safer, because if she gets even the flu, it could be really, really dangerous and could lead to even hospitalization. So I just have to tell you guys, it's hard because I keep telling my friends, like, it's safe. Like, you don't have to stay in your homes. You don't have to be afraid. Like, there are ways to safely start getting out. And it makes me concerned, but I have to let go. I have to let go. I have to know that everyone's doing it differently. Everyone's on their own different path. But that doesn't mean it's not sad. It doesn't mean it's not hard when you have a friend who you're really, really close to, and you thought your friendship could withstand what's been happening over the past few months. But like based on the conversations you had, like, wow, we're in a really different place, and I have to just love everyone through that and know that's okay. So I was really sad. I was really disappointed. By the way, there's no way I could be at the park on July 17th. I have a SoCal Select Pass, so the earliest date I would even hope of getting in is like a weekday, the second to last week in August. So it was more like my heart was swelling to see my favorite vloggers report about the 65th anniversary, like to see them crying with joy being back at the park and knowing how long they've waited, knowing how positive they've stayed, knowing how they've adapted so quickly by doing home vlogs and, you know, eating right vlogs and all these things that they've had to do to adapt and stay afloat, and like celebrating with them remotely. So it's interesting because I think some of my friends that are taking the quarantine a bit more seriously kind of see me as this like cavalier, you know, reckless person that I took my kids to the dentist this week, but really I have been incredibly under quarantine in reality. And so I think that's why it's like, what's going on, you know? So anyways, yeah, just trying to stay sane, trying to keep an open mind, trying to see every side of this and do my best with that. And I hope you guys are too. So yeah, so many plans have changed, and I'm not saying it's good or bad or right or wrong, but we can acknowledge how we feel, we can acknowledge disappointment, we can acknowledge that there might be people that are affected on a mental health level, on like being out of work. I know that a lot of the union workers organized and said they don't feel safe going back on July 17th, which I respect. But I also know there's a lot of workers that are like, I kind of need a paycheck. Like, I feel like, so I just want to like keep the conversation open, keep it positive, and thank you for listening to this journey that I'm going on, and I think that is relatable because we're all in it together from the beginning. This has been something that we're universally kind of facing, and again, I do think it's a little harder here in the urban places, because when I was in the visiting my dad and then my mom in the Central Coast, honestly, you guys, other than if I'm on Twitter, I didn't feel it, because things are opening up, people are wearing masks, everyone's pretty well behaved, everyone's pretty distant, and it's pretty rural. So I felt really safe, and I felt like things were just kind of life is not like as usual. Because if you're in a tiny town with 2,000 people, like you're not really feeling the risk as when, like, you know, here the malls have reopened and they're really crowded. So I get people's concerns, but that being, again, like the malls are reopened, things are reopened. People are out, the demand is there, so I think, like, why not an open air place like Disneyland that has a ton of experience with following safety regulations. It's going to take every safety precaution. I just think that, and also I ran all the numbers. If you look at, like, and a lot of people debate whether the numbers are real. Like, if I talk to my friends that are Republican, they say the numbers are higher than they actually are. If I talk to my friends that are Democrats, they say the numbers are lower than they actually are. So no one's believing the numbers, but if I just look at the numbers and what the CDC is saying, like the infection rate and the death rate is, the OC is actually one of the safest spots right now that's like on the map. So people have gotten ill and people have died, but not at all at the rate. Like Los Angeles is definitely, numbers wise, if we're trusting the numbers, got it the worst, I think, which is why maybe I feel it the most. And I didn't look at New York because that's not a place I'm thinking of visiting, so I did not look at their numbers. So anyways, so Los Angeles has reopened, and there's traffic, there's people out. We got a call from our dentist actually a month ago, but I finally took my kids yesterday, and I still need to go, and my husband still needs to go, and my kids were, yay, we went to the dentist. That's the pictures that I put as the thumbnail for this video. And it's kind of sad because my thumbnail was going to be me talking, like, where are my Disney moms at? And I was really going to get into the Disney stuff, but it's, you know, again, like, I'm just learning how to adapt every single moment, and that is definitely something I'm getting used to. So, Los Angeles has reopened. Oh, so my kids, when they went in, they were...
I'm a kid.
You're a kid. Do you want to show them your clean teeth? Yeah. They were 3 months overdue, and they both had plaque on their teeth. So again, like, we need to still take care of ourselves. It's good that you can go out, you can get a haircut, you can get your teeth cleaned, you can get your dog groomed. So I think this is really important. And it was like the big event of the day, and it's like, I feel like actually it's like the big event of the week, and like it took all of me to make it happen, and now I'm like, now I can rest. My stamina levels are not what they were before this started as a mom, so it's gonna be interesting when I truly start to go out and do things again. Like, I feel like we're gonna last 3 hours at Disneyland and be like, okay, now we need to take a nap, but maybe the adrenaline will keep us going. Yes, it will. We are trying to plan a trip to go to San Diego. Oi, I need to go.
What?
Oh, so my friend Kate said got her hair cut. Oh, you got your hair cut. Oh, so yeah, so my friend Kate is saying she got a haircut today, but her hairstylist is saying it's 50-50. So like half the people are like, cut my hair, I'm ready, and half the people are like, I'm not going out. And that's really happening here in Los Angeles.
Computer.
Yeah, and that shot, it's a little delayed, isn't it, Raleigh?
But they can't see it.
Well, they saw that like 5 seconds ago. That's how this works. Okay. It's a delay. So anyways, yeah, that's why I think it's a little crazy making here in Los Angeles because it is really split. I have close friends that won't come meet with me 6 feet apart with a mask on outside, no kids. And it's like, to me, I just think you're healthy. There's no way that's a risky thing to do, but I have to respect, careful sweetie, I have to respect, that was Domino's food and water bowl if you're wondering. I have to respect their wishes because I mean, that fear for them is real. So anyways, Kate, I'm so happy for you that you got your hair done. I have yet to go. I'm actually really loving my hair color right now, just natural. But I don't know. Oh, and then my mom went to get her hair cut. They opened in Solvang May 30th. Yeah, so they've been open for about a month. And now I think in a place like Solvang, I just feel like the fear, I think people in Los Angeles see all the numbers and hear about all the cases, and they forget that they're in a city with 14 million people. So even though the ratios are the same, like if you're in a small town and you hear that one person, your ratio of infection is actually higher, but it just doesn't sound as frightening as like 3,000 people, right? So I think that's kind of what we're dealing with too, is like people, like it's hard to imagine like 13 million people, or 10 million, I'm sorry, 10 million. It's hard to imagine 10 million. That's like hard for our brains to take in, where if you live in a town with like 2,000, 10,000 people and you hear 5 people got sick and they were maybe, and they recovered, or maybe one person that was elderly, you know, like, look, it's dangerous. I'm terrified of, personally, I am terrified of coronavirus. Last night I had like an itch in my throat and I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's coronavirus? Because again, I'm terrified of the flu. I'm terrified of anything that will weaken my system, and I might succumb to like really bad asthma. I've had some things happen where I really felt like on the edge because of a bad illness. So I wouldn't want to get coronavirus. I am like getting that it is really dangerous. However, when I look at the rate of infection, the rate of death, and how many people live in my city, I'm like, but I'm also not going to not live my life and live in fear. So I think it's like managing those things for me personally. That's my own personal opinion. So anyways, like I was saying, if you're in a small town and you heard so-and-so got it and they recovered, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go get my hair cut. Where in LA, it's like, the numbers are a little more frightening. So anyways, so how we're staying safe, this is what I've been doing. I have a little routine. My mama said, I was told one person died in San Luis Obispo County and they were 80, but she's not sure if it's a reliable source. So yeah, if you hear that, you're like, yeah, people are dying every day. Like, doesn't sound like, you know, it's horrible. Any death is horrible, but however, that's, maybe you've heard of some, I mean, anyways, death is reality of our mortality. So that's where I'm at. I get that people disagree with me. I get that it runs the whole spectrum. So how I'm staying safe is, if I'm walking the dog, or if I'm outside walking with my family, I know I'm not going to be in any crowded areas. I do not wear a mask. I know that some people feel this is controversial. I personally feel that a mask is something you put on when you're in a more populated place. Yeah, my friend Kate said it's because they're pumping it in the news. I also, you know what's so interesting? So I was watching today with my family a documentary, or not a documentary, it's on Disney Plus, Kate, of like the whole story behind the Imagineering of Disneyland. And the first day that Disney opened, what did they call it? Black Sunday or something like that? Did you put me on the screen? Oh, that's hilarious. Can you turn the sound down though, baby, so I don't get like a feedback? So anyways, it was horrible. Like, it went horribly. Like, it was over capacity. It's like, if you guys watch this this whole series that Disney did, like, you're like, how did they survive it? And the media just panned them, like, just what was it? Disney, instead of like Disney's dream, Disney's nightmare. I mean, they just, the media was just horrible to it. And I think it was an important lesson to me, being like, the media has always kind of been there to make things seem like a catastrophe. They're never like, things are sunny today, go out and don't listen to the news. So I feel like a lot of us are like upset with the headlines, but then I'm like, oh wait, but the news has always been one-sided, in the side of like fear and like spinning it all, you know. So I think, you know, not to not read the news or not watch the news, but to remember like there's a filter and there's a formula. Yeah. So insatiable. So again, like I was saying, so and this is also why I wanted to read the Sneetches, the Stars Upon Thars, because the whole theme of this book, and there's more stories in it. This is a compilation. There's some good ones in here. Yeah, multiple sources. So, so anyways, the reason I want to do the Sneetches, but then I decided the Better Battle book felt more where I was at today, because I think what's happening is someone sees me without a mask walking my dog and thinks like I'm a horrible person. But then like what I was gonna say is, when I go into public, like for example, taking the kids to the dentist, I put us all in masks, and I actually had these gloves on because I have really bad eczema. And I knew that when I got to the doctor's office, and honestly, I hate this plastic waste, but I personally have to do this because my skin, I don't know if you guys could see it, but it's like almost breaking apart. When it gets really bad, it starts to bleed and crack and bleed. So I can't put hand sanitizer on, you guys. So my solution to that, and this hopefully is temporary because I don't want to have a lot of plastic waste. What I do is I'll reuse these as many times as I can until they're just like breaking apart, just so I don't like, you can wash them, you don't need to throw them out every time. So here I go to the dentist, and I'm with my kids, you know, I'm driving, I'm with my kids, I get out of the car, we all put our masks on, we're walking down the street, and someone might see me with gloves and a mask and be like, she's crazy, like why is she so afraid of the virus? So it's like, depending on what I look like in any given day, I'm thinking people are judging me, and I think we need to like stop judging. My husband puts it really, really well. He's like, it's just like a seatbelt. You put it on and you don't think about it. It makes you safer. It's the law. And I think it's the same thing with the mask. Like, you know, when it's required and when it makes people safer because maybe there's that person that's sick and doesn't know it, put on the mask, do your thing, don't think about it, don't politicize it, don't judge people if they do or don't do it, like just do you, you know? And I think that that would really help if we do that. And I think it might just take time, because there was definitely, I've been talking a lot to my friends in California and checking in with my mom and like my other friend's dad, like when the seatbelt thing happened, was that politicized in LA? And I think it probably was. I think there was, especially like if you're a libertarian or someone that's like, you can't tell me what to do with my body, which I totally get, but at the same time, we all know that seatbelts save lives, so, and it is the law, and so over time we've adapted to that idea. And I'm not saying we're gonna wear masks forever. I really don't know, because again, we're in new territory, but it's something we don't even think about now. And I was actually in a really bad car accident when I was in high school. It was very early in the morning, and my friend was driving. I was asleep because again, it was like 6 a.m. We were on our way to work, and she fell asleep at the wheel on the freeway, and the car rolled 3 times. Because what happened was I started to wake up, like I could feel her drifting, and something in me, you know, that like sixth sense, I woke up. And I was like, oh, and I yelled out her name, and it woke her up. And being a new driver, she like slammed on the brakes and overcorrected, and the car rolled 3 times. The windshield, you guys, I was knocked out, but again, I survived, and she survived because we had seatbelts. The windshield was 120 feet down the road. That would have been our bodies had we not had seatbelts. So there's no denying, like I literally wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about this today. So there's no denying that seatbelts save lives, and there's no denying that in a public place, even though it doesn't necessarily make you safer, it does stop the spread of the droplets, the mask. So like my husband keeps saying, put it on, stop thinking about it. Like don't don't like overdo it. Yeah, my mom's like so scary. My mom knows that story, and I'm sure she hates it every time she hears it, because, you know, I understand now because I have kids. Like, ugh. So I was like, don't ever get in a car. But that's another thing. We get in cars. I was definitely like, yeah, my mom lived it. Oh man, what a week that was. I was like in bed I was on the couch all week recovering, because I did get really beat up. You know, it felt like I had been beat up because I had like been knocked around, but I was fine. Like, with time, and I still have like maybe some scar tissue on my neck, but like I'm here. So it's a lot better than like breaking every body in my bone and or, you know. So again, what was I gonna say about that? Anyways, so I think that's a really great way of looking at it and not judging people for the choices they're making, and also, like, don't be afraid. Like, don't be afraid to go out right now. Like, I really, when I keep crunching the numbers and people keep, like, going, yeah, and being afraid. But I'm like, if you're healthy, and, like, if I'm not afraid with my daughter with type 1 diabetes, like, I'm not throwing birthday parties. I'm not, like, you know, if you're dating, maybe be cautious. Like, don't just start making out with everyone. But, like, I think we need to be living and be out and just follow these new safety regulations. And I do think that it will help, and I think that it's a good compromise, because what I see happening here in Los Angeles, like, I just don't see the quarantine being sustainable. That's just my personal opinion based on everything I've seen. So again, that's how I'm staying safe. I'm putting on the mask, putting the mask on the kids. I'm doing my gloves, because when I arrived at the dentist's office, it was the first time we had to do the temperature check. So of course I'm nervous. I'm like, what if we're running high? But because some people run high, that's a thing. So I don't know if you're like that one person that runs high, if you want to get like a doctor's note or something. But like, we all passed the little, you know, we knocked on the door. They did the temperature screening. And I was like, oh, you know, and then we passed. We were all healthy and no temperature. And again, I know people are going to say like, oh, asymptomatic. These are all measures of prevention. It's never going to be foolproof. When you put your car seatbelt on, you could still die in a car accident. It's still super dangerous. Oh, my mom's saying the police said it was a miracle, and I don't know how you walked away. They did not let me see the car. They said it became Tonka toy. Makes sense, mask with a seatbelt comparison. Yeah, I think it is really similar, because it's the same type of thing where it's like the government is telling you to do a new thing you didn't have to do before. And it's hard, because it's like, where do we draw the line? Like, I get that. Like, at what point are we going to be like, do we just not question things, you know? But in this case, I think, hey, if it means we can go out, we can feel safer, and we can be safer and slow down the spread of this. By the way, it's slowing down the spread of the flu, of other cold viruses. I mean, again, I've never felt healthier. I've never felt my daughter is safer out in public.
Can you give me insulin?
I gave her a lot of insulin, but why are you giving her insulin now? Oh yeah, you taking, well, if she has one, what is she having it with?
Butter.
Yeah, she probably does. Just if it's one. If she starts eating more, you can give her more insulin. Just sorting out the insulin ratio. So anyways, so they took our temperature, and then they did have hand sanitizer. They did not make us use it. And I don't think, there was a teenager there that did not have a mask, so I don't even think they would make you have a mask. I just did it because I know I'm coming into a doctor's office, and I just want them to feel like we're not introducing new germs that might hurt their practice. And then my mom said, all that said, I look forward to seeing people's smiles again. Totally. I agree with that. Although I have to say, when I've been out in public with my mask on, like, so we were walking down one of the surface streets in Beverly Hills, and there was a lot of elderly people on the street and some families. So I just decided to put the kids' mask on just so they didn't feel like, because I think kids are seen as carriers, like they may not have symptoms, but they could spread it. So I didn't want people to feel like, oh, we have to walk on the other side of the street. Yeah, so it is true that some reports of COVID could be the flu, and that's a case that is possible. It even says so on the CDC website. So it's not foolproof. I mean, honestly, when have we ever had a cold and they're like, I'm going to tell you what strain of cold you're suffering from? They're like, go home, drink some fluids, and rest, you know? And I get that this is different, but that it, you know. Anyway, so we're walking down the street. I decided I just put the kids' mask on because like some elderly people, and I have to say, I was smiling and saying hi, and they were smiling and saying hi, and I could see it. You can see a smile in someone's eyes. So I think even if your mouth is covered, you can still smile. What is it called? Smizing? What's that called, Kate? I feel like she'll know, like the model thing where you smile with your eyes. Anyways, that's gonna become more, that skill to like smile with your eyes will be like a thing now. Smizing? What? Do you know what that's called? Was it Tyra Banks on like one of the modeling shows? They call it like smizing or smiling with your eyes. Anyways. So I have to say, when I'm out walking or exercise, I do get really claustrophobic and I don't feel like I'm breathing well with a mask on. So again, like I think there are instances where, like when I see people driving with a mask, if I see people riding a bike with a mask or running with a mask, I'm concerned for their health. I just think that's actually could be harmful to your health. So I think just don't judge people. Everyone's going through something different. That person might, like I might be worried, but then they might have like an autoimmune thing that they're dealing with, and they're like, that's the way they're getting out of their house, and that's how they've decided to do it. So I got to the hand sanitizer. I was like, do you need me to put hand sanitizer on? And she's like, no. But I was like, well, just in case, like when I go to Disneyland, this will protect my hands, because if I put hand sanitizer on my hands, a couple weeks later, they will be cracking apart, and that actually makes me more susceptible to infection. So that's what I'm doing. It's not ideal for the environment, I know. So I just wanted to, I think some of you that are here have seen me talk about this before. Definitely my mom, because she's in the video where I like do a little tutorial on how to do this. And so, excuse me, I pre-ordered some Disney masks because I'm like, when I go back, I want to be wearing my Disney mask for the kids and I. But I don't think we're going to get them till like early July. So in the meantime, my sister-in-law sent these when this really first started. Excuse me. And for a while I've been wearing bandanas, and I still do the bandana. I made a video about that because that's just an easy way to cover up and follow the rules, but it can be a little tricky because it will slip sometimes if it's not like extra tight. But it's a nice thing that you can just kind of pull up and down. So she made these. I didn't really think we were going to use them, but we've used them a lot, and it's fun that we have 4. Oh wait, what's Kate saying? Oh, no clue. She doesn't know about the smizing. I don't know. It's something like that. This is from a while ago. Sounds good to me. Okay, that's what it's called now. So when she sent these, I was like, that's so sweet. That's so nice of her. And she sent us 4, and they all have the same pattern. So like when we wear them, we're all matchy, which of course as a mom, I'm really into that. But we've used them so much, and so now I'm realizing, this is gonna be like, I was like, for the next couple weeks when we go to the grocery store, we're gonna need a mask. But of course, this keeps changing, and that's an element that's hard, because I'm like, okay, every day I'm like, okay, wait, this is still going, it's still going, but I get it's still going, and we still need to do this. So what I came up with when my mom came to visit is, because we have long hair, and like I don't want to tie a strap over my hair, and it's hard for the kids because they're like fiddling with it and tying them, untying them. It takes a couple minutes to size it just right, but you put it over your kid's face and you kind of pinch the fabric, the tassels back here, and then you make a loose knot. And yeah, you can just slip it on and off. You make a loose knot where you think the size, when you get the size right, and you have to adjust a few times, but I only do it like after I clean and iron them. Clean and iron your mask, guys. Go out and care about how you look in your mask. Anyway, so it just slips over your ear like this. Oh, as I poke myself in the eye. Oh. And like that over your ear, and then like you can tie the tassels. So what I do is I tie the kids' tassels like under their neck, and then like your hair is free, and then if the tassel is loosely tied in the back, which mine's not right now, the kids themselves can just take it on and off, and then they feel the freedom to be in control of their mask. And wait, here, I'll just do it. I'm in this live video. Yeah, so my friend Kate is concerned about the oxygen levels and like that you're breathing. I think that you're breathing your own CO2, which I can see would make you more susceptible to illness too, because like you could also be re-exposing yourself to the germs too. But again, like if this is, I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, so these actually, these are cotton and you can breathe, but again, I feel very claustrophobic with a mask on. But what I love about this is I can just easily, like when I do this with the kids, they can just slip it on or off, like really easily. Like, so the kids they've been great, you guys. Like at first they were very resistant, but I've just kind of, I'll tell them when we're leaving, I'm gonna have to put your mask on, so I always give them a heads up, and then I tell them why, and then I can tell them like when they can take it on and off. So like when we left the dentist's office, I said, now that we're outside the building, it's safe to take it off, and they took it off, and it just hangs around their neck loosely. And I think that they like that they can easily like put it on and off themselves. My kids are 4 and 7. So the fact that they can do it, now my daughter is much more independent and like mature than say if my son were 4 right now, I don't know that he would have done it. So I get that we may want to establish a point at which like a kid's too young for this. Like I think in Santa Barbara, it's required that kids, should I pause for the water? It's okay. I think in Santa Barbara, it's required for kids 12 and up. So if you're under 12, you're not required to wear a mask. I'm sure this is very controversial, but I feel like that's such a humane way to draw the line because kids are touching their mask. Kids might be sensitive to like having something over their face. There's also the concern about airflow and you know, that being unhealthy and harmful. So anyways, that's what's happening here in Los Angeles. I don't think they've set an age, so I'm just doing it when I need to, which isn't very often because we're not getting out that much in Los Angeles. But it's just like a really easy way because then again, you can just have your hair flowing in the wind and it's not, I mean, because like look at the other option, like to do this, I don't know if I can. Like when you have these type of masks, which a lot of people made these because they are really great, but it's like when it goes up around your head and you have to tie it and fiddle with it, and there's like 2 ties and they loosen easily. So anyways, these are great because they just rest on your ears, this technique, like a pair of sunglasses, you know. So that's how I do it. I hope you guys are able to get your kids to wear masks because what a nightmare. Like I can't even get my kids to eat vegetables. I'm astonished that they're wearing masks, you know. But I think we've talked a lot about it. They know what's going on. They know about coronavirus. Kids are really smart and they pick up a lot. So, you know, and I think they like getting out. And like we did Knott's Berry Farm. We went to the berry market and the chicken to go one of the first weeks it opened for Mother's Day, which was awesome. I'll link the video. And I'm distracted because I feel like, where does the link go? Why do I care? Yeah, I think there. It's like reversed. Anyways, and they really didn't want to do it, but I think they realized pretty quickly like they didn't get to go into the market or be a part of it if they didn't put their mask on. So it's like, it's not Berry Farm. So as long as it's not, like I feel like if it were like you have to put your mask on to go to school, they'd be like, well, I don't really want to go to school. So we'll see. I don't know. Honestly, here in Los Angeles, I think school's going to be remote this year. I just don't see that they would have the time to figure out how they were going to approach the safety regulations and keep everyone safe. And I don't think the teachers will agree to it. I just think that's a whole other, I'm so sad about that because I do want my kids to be in school. As a mom, I need the break. And also, you know, the kids aren't really getting out and running around and playing with their friends. Like Kate, my friend here, she's the only play date we've had that isn't family since this started. So yeah, it's pretty drastic here, you guys. like my cousins in San Diego, her kids are going back to their swim lessons. They're going back to their soccer lessons. They're meeting up with friends. They're actually flying to see my 93-year-old Nana at the end of the month. And I wanted to go to the San Diego Zoo before with them, but I said, and Sacramento's opening up too. Yeah, so I told her, I was like, you know what? I don't want to see you before you go see Nana because I would feel awful in the like slim chance that Nana were to get it. So I'm like, let's just minimize your contact with people and I'll meet up with you when you get back from seeing Nana because Nana is 93. So I'm like, if anyone should be concerned, it's her. But they're flying. Honestly, we're discussing whether we want to fly to Florida in September. Jesse, I don't think you're listening to me right now. In September?
Yeah.
And we're debating it because I am nervous. Looks like Henry's school will be remote in the fall also. Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan. So Raleigh and her cousin Henry, it's their first year of elementary and it's probably going to be remote. So that, you know, like these are tough pills to swallow and I get why it's happening, but it doesn't mean we can't be disappointed for our kiddos. You know, it is hard for all the kids that had to graduate remotely this year. There's no way around it. Like we're all being really good sports about it for the most part, but I feel like, yeah, I worry that this is our new response to anything that is not that's viral because I just think we just found out yesterday. Wow, they haven't even notified us, but I feel like that's most definitely where we're going with LA Unified. It's such a big school district, 2,000 schools, there's so many needs. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the charter schools that are more independent can decide for themselves, but for us in LA Unified, I'm pretty sure that we will be, it's not 100% sure, but that is the plan. Yeah, I think people are having a really hard time planning for fall because we don't really know where we're gonna be in the fall and then like cold and flu season's gonna hit and so it's gonna be like the whole thing over again. But I personally, my heart is like, I'm not really doing another quarantine, but as I say that, I'm kind of still in quarantine. So it's like, my heart is not in the same place as where I am physically. Maybe that's part of my all day, every day. And then I have to remind myself, like, there's kids here, play with your daughter, dance around the living room. Speaking of dancing around the living room, my daughter and I found this movie on Netflix called The Next Step. Raleigh, what's that dance movie we were watching yesterday? Is it called The Next Step? The Next Step. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's so cute. It's so full of love. I love it so much. It's so simple. It's like rated G and it's just like a lot of dance music and a lot of dance fun and it's got like a ton of heart. I love the writing. It's really funny and my daughter and I watched it twice and every time there was like a dance scene, we got up and we were dancing and like a lot of the songs, you guys, are from from my generation, like my childhood. Like they had CNC Music Factory and like all those hits from like when I was a kid. So like I'm like, they know the parents are gonna be into this, you know? So we would like dance every time and I'd like do lifts with her and so it's like I keep trying to like go back to just like being a kid and being playful, but you know, that's how I'm coping. Okay, so that leads me into like a mental health check-in. So I don't know where you guys are at and feel free to chime in if you feel comfortable. I can't deny this is affecting my mental health. Yesterday, I don't even know why, but I got like a tightness and when this used to happen I definitely had more anxiety when this was first happening. The first month I was like having a lot of anxiety, like what is going on? Why is everything shut down? Like, is this our new normal? Like, why would we do this for a virus? Like, I was like, what? You know? And now I'm like coping and I'm feeling better, but like once in a while my chest will tighten. So in the beginning, my chest would tighten and you guys, I thought I had coronavirus. Like I was like, oh, this is it, I have coronavirus. But it turns out it was anxiety. So this is something I've never had that kind of physical thing happen before. And yesterday I was driving to the dentist's office and for some reason it happened slightly. It was very slight, but yeah. So, and I also can't deny that I'm very heartbroken because I have friends here in Los Angeles that won't again meet up with me, even if we're like taking every precaution. And so I'm kind of like, And I have other friends that are like refusing just to say hi. Like I'm like when they see me because they live nearby, and I'm just like, it's really heartbreaking. And so I get angry and I want to like argue with them in my head, like, because I don't know why they're doing it. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know why they're basically shunning me. I don't know what's going on for them. And underneath all my anger, I'm just really sad. Because I thought that we loved each other. Like I thought that we could surpass these little, like, we don't totally agree about how to quarantine. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that is all like swirling around, but thankfully I do have my family. My heart goes out to anyone living alone or without pets because I have Domino. After this, I'll probably just sit on the ground with Domino and cut all her little knots out and like snuggle with her, because I have these ways of getting back to what really matters, getting back to the love I have for my family, the love I have for all of you guys that are here and like so supportive of me. Like, so I've got ways of getting back, but man, you guys, it just takes like one Twitter post or one person that just that refuses. Like, I said hi to my neighbor and she's like this, and I'm like, that like is so hard for me, and I know it might be because I'm a tad bit codependent, like, but it also brings back, I think, my teenage years, because there was a lot of harassment that happened amongst teenagers, like us, that there were some moments where people were really cruel to me, and now I forgive them and I know they didn't mean it. I know they were just like being teenagers, but like it really hurt in the moment. So I think like all those feelings come flooding back of like feeling like someone is shutting you out and being cruel, and that's like, so anyways, that's my mental health check-in. I'm gonna start crying. Where are you at? But again, I'm just committed to like staying positive, staying safe, trying to look at the bigger picture, trying to focus on what matters, like not engaging in this crazy butter battle thing of like where you put your butter on your toast and like how evil you are, so like trying to just like stay in there. Yeah, and then, oh my gosh, it's happening right now, Raleigh's dance recital video. So I'm gonna end this video so you guys can watch it and watch alongside with me. I completely lost track of time. It just started 3 minutes ago. And I think the link is in the description for this video, and I'll text it to my friends that are here. And I totally went over, lost track of time. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful in that, like, by telling you what's going on, honestly, for me, it can support you and wherever you are in your journey. Bye. I hope you can watch with me. Again, I will send my peeps the link, or it's in the description box. Okay, bye.